The absolute state of the MMORPG genre. Yeah, this is it.
The MMORPG.
I've wanted to watch this video for a while, and I saved it so I could watch it on stream.
RPG gaming genre, the most unloved, near-forgotten genre that hasn't experienced anywhere near the same amount of innovation, investment, and interest from developers compared to pretty much every other genre of gaming. In this video I go on a bit of a rant and discuss my thoughts on the absolute state of the MMORPG genre as a whole. But
the problem with MMORPGs is that there's too much monetization in the game, and the monetization in MMORPGs, I think it directly conflicts with the reason why people play the games. So you get like special mounts and shit like that, and anytime that you can get some kind of visual reward for paying money, it just automatically devalues shit that's in the game. It just does. For a lot of people. Maybe not for you, but it does for me, and it does for I think a lot of people. And that's the problem, is that they're over monetized. They're over monetized to the point to where it conflicts with the integrity of the game. That's where I think the core problem with MMORPGs is. And also, of course, they're not very innovative either. But mostly the monetization.
First, a quick word from today's sponsor.
No integrity.
QV is a gorgeously stylized 3D puzzle platformer coming to Steam on March 18th, 2021, in which you'll embark on a dimensional jumping adventure with the game's main character QB, who needs to use her magic brush to prevent the universe from collapse by restoring balance to the different dimensions by locating and repairing their dimensional cores.
Look, it's isometric. It's isometric. What's that game that Rich plays? Spent all his money on? Genshin Impact.
In this game, you'll use QB's magic brush to warp to different places, make portals, create ink bridges across water, and avoid enemies.
Looks like a
As you progress further in the game, you'll also meet other playable characters that will help QB bypass some obstacles that would be impossible to do so alone.
Just what
There's
I
4
wanted.
different difficulty options for each stage, totaling 172 different level experiences. Plus, you can customize QB with outfits and hairstyles you get from unlocking various achievements. It also features controller support and multi-language support for English, German, French, Korean, Japanese, and Chinese, as well as an upbeat adventure soundtrack that's fitting for your dimensional travels. So if you're a fan of unique 3D anime puzzle platformers, then click the link in the description below to add QV to your Steam wishlist today.
Incredible.
As someone that's been making full-time MMORPG content for about 6 years now,
this guy really deserves some recognition. I remember whenever I first watched him, he was overweight by a pretty good degree, and now he's in really good shape. I know, like anybody who's watched this content for a long time, it's badass to see that.
I have to say, it sometimes baffles me that I've still got a channel that even gets views.
Yeah.
I felt as though I ran out of
same way.
MMORPG content to make in 2017, and since then I've kind of been scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to finding new MMORPG stuff to make videos about for you guys. In 2020 it wasn't too bad, as there was a lot of MMO news and I was able to go back and do updated first impressions videos for stuff I'd covered years ago.
Never mind,
but in 2021, like now, I'm really struggling to figure out what MMO themed content I even want to make. When it comes to MMORPGs, I just feel as though the whole
a little bit of a just let you guys know what's going on. The servers are getting reset, and then whenever the servers are done getting reset, I'm going to try to log on again, okay?
genre has so much unrealized potential, and when I look at the top games in the genre, it just feels like they all play it so safe and don't really do anything to tap into that potential. If I was to ask some random person what makes a good MMORPG, I'm going to get some generic answer like a good story, dungeons, raids, battlegrounds. They're basically just going to list me
chainmail bikini armor for female characters. That's what it requires. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we're looking for. That's where we're at.
Features. And to me, features are not what's going to help this genre reach its potential. Back when I was in high school, Wrath of the Lich King, World of Warcraft, I remember doing Winter Grasp, and it was so epic at the time, like hundreds of players all on a big map trying to take control of a castle to then get access to a raid. It all felt super epic, and I remember thinking to myself, if this is what MMOs are doing now, can you imagine what they're going to be doing in 10 to 15 years? Unfortunately, I don't really feel as though we've had a whole lot lot of progression from that.
No, we
Sure,
haven't.
We've had slight innovations over the past 10 to 15
I would argue that if anything, we've had regression.
years when it comes to actual mechanics and gameplay, action combat. We've got a few different features in MMOs that have been kind of
Black
like
Desert,
pushing
one of
things
the new
forward.
characters.
But when it comes to MMORPGs improving and innovating on that massively multiplayer aspect, I feel as though we've made next to no progress, and if anything, we've actually regressed from where we were 10 to 15 years ago.
There it is.
From my point
Smart
of view,
guy.
the entire appeal of the MMO genre is that if you design a game well, you can potentially have infinitely replayable content if you can make player interaction,
Social
cooperation, and conflict the focus of the content in a way that's dynamic and make players feel like they're part of a changing world.
It's exactly right. I mean, look at Goldshire, for example, on Moonguard. When was the last time that Goldshire got an update? What did they add in, like, new fucking new dildos to Goldshire? A new BDSM set in the basement? No, they didn't, but players did. And the players created the content. And that's why people still go to Goldshire in... no, really, like, it's a meme, but it's not. RP and player... like... emergent player behavior, people doing things with each other that they invent on their own, is always going to have a better life cycle than the stuff that the game makes. And it's always going to be viewed better.
But the world isn't changing because of some lame scripted patch. The world is changing because of decisions made by a large group of players. That to me is the direction we need to head in to start realizing some of this genre's potential. Let's just go through the top 10 MMOs and analyze how massively multiplayer they really are. You've got World of Warcraft. What's really massively multiplayer in that game? You've got raiding, which is 20-player mythic, dungeons, instanced battleground content. It's not really massively
The only massively multiplayer thing you do in Shadowlands is whenever you put an ancient, somebody riding on the ancient on follow, and then you make the RP walk circle around Ouroboros. Like, that's basically that's the extent of most people's interactions in Shadowlands.
And when I say massively multiplayer, I mean there needs to be a system in the game that makes you care about hundreds or thousands of other players.
Yeah.
But WoW doesn't really have that. A lot of the aspects of World of Warcraft that people enjoy could just be put into a lobby game, really. The only thing that maybe couldn't would be the story. But then again, who really plays MMORPGs for the story when you've got thousands of fantastic single-player story games that are designed to give you a better experience for that?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV to me has the same issues as World of Warcraft. People love the game for the story, but for me personally, I couldn't care less about any pre-scripted MMO story. To me, the potential of the genre is unlocked when the story is all about...
I care about the story for certain games, I definitely do, but I do think that the story has to be developed over time, and you can't just say, oh wow, this is a really important character. You have to make players feel that way. And I think with the Jailer, it's been like, it was better with the Jailer than it was in BFA. I'd say that. But it's like the Jailer is a better enemy than N'Zoth, but they're both really, I mean, neither of them are on the same level as Illidan or the Lich King or Garrosh. And I think WoW, like, one of their problems they have is that they are still holding on to a lot of characters that were from Warcraft 3. And they need to develop new characters and make players get emotionally attached to those new characters. I think Anduin's an example of them doing kind of a good job. Greymane is kind of a good job as well. And they just need to do that more. Sarfang's another one that's really cool. Was really cool.
The interactions between players, whether that's through in-game political systems, trade, PvP, figuring out secrets hidden in the game as a community, and being able to have a say in what PvE content is locked and unlocked. No MMO currently really does all of these things that I've just mentioned. Elder Scrolls Online and Guild Wars 2, both decent games, decent features, and they have tried to add to that massively multiplayer aspect. You've got Cyrodiil in Elder Scrolls, which has like hundreds of players. That does feel massively multiplayer, but you don't really care about Cyrodiil that much. Same for World vs. World and Guild Wars 2. You don't really care about it that much.
Well, there's no stakes to it as far as I know. And I remember I watched my friend do World vs. World, and I thought it was really cool. I had a friend named Austin, and I go over to his house like all the time, and he'd play Guild Wars 2 a lot, but It's just that, like in Wintergrasp, for example, you had stakes to Wintergrasp and it mattered in the server. If you have things in the game that don't matter, then nobody cares. You have to have things that matter, and then also simultaneously you have to make things fair. Because in Wintergrasp, like I told the story before, Wintergrasp for Horde was terrible. You had literally the entire fucking US military shooting, you know, shooting all your tax dollars at this small little fucking invulnerability circle, and the second that the Horde steps, whoop, he's dead. Immediately fucking dead. Like death gripped by like 8 people, hit by like 17 different artillery strikes. You've got fucking 5 mages palm pyroing him. You've got warriors fucking trying to overpower him. People are just going crazy. He gets charged and stunned. He gets 2 rows of debuffs in 3 seconds, or 0.3 seconds, and he's just dead. It sucks.
The consequences of what happens in these massively multiplayer environments doesn't really affect the entire world, and it doesn't bring PvP and PvE players together.
No,
these features are their own separate thing. The only MMO I've played in recent years that's given me even a fraction of that massively multiplayer feeling that I've been looking for was Black Desert Online, and it was only a little bit. It was just scraping that potential that I feel as though the genre is capable of.
Yeah, I remember I watched Lazy Peon's like all of his Black Desert videos whenever the game came to NA. I remember I watched pretty much all of them because I was playing the game at the same time, and I liked the game too. I thought it was really fun, but there are some parts of it I just didn't really like. Like for example, you can't see the numbers, the damage numbers that you do. I didn't like that.
Back in 2017, Black Desert Online was at its peak, in my opinion. All the EU servers merged, and there was something like 30 different guilds all fighting to be the most powerful on the server. Every day, multiple guilds fighting in node wars, guilds fighting to take control of castles, which at the time felt as though they had a lot of prestige to them. And for the most part, the majority of the fun from that period of time came from the interactions between the different guilds, seeing what was happening politically, seeing what guilds would die, seeing the new guilds that would rise up. And obviously, Black Desert being Black Desert, I knew it's a Korean game, this fun's not going to last, but at the time I did enjoy it. But I guess what I've been looking for after all these years is an MMO where you feel like the community as a whole, both PvP and PvE players, all have different agendas and are given the tools and systems to change the world in a way where you feel compelled to get involved in the community and have an impact on the outcome. From a design point of view, what Black Desert did with its node wars and sieges was really great for PvP players, but at this point I was hoping an MMO would come along that gives me that same feeling of excitement and care for...
There is PvE in Black Desert, it's just a Zerg fest. Like I remember there was this boss, his name was like Kazarka, some kind of fucking shit, and he dropped like a really good weapon, and everybody always wanted to do him in my guild. Like basically what happened was, Zarka, some kind of shit, and I killed him like 3 or 4 times. I didn't get anything, and I said, fuck it. I never did it again, really, as I quit the game. And all of the PvE content is just grinding. Like, people are like probably right now in Black Desert like 68 or 69, which is insane. I remember getting level 55 was hard right whenever the game came out.
The community of people that I'm playing with in a PvE
I remember seeing
environment.
67. I just assumed
PvE
it'd
in
be
MMOs
68
has
by
never
now.
really had a massive impact on the world, and as a result you don't really care what other people are doing PvE wise. I guess for an MMO to achieve the things that I want in terms of that feeling I get from the PvE, it would have to be a lot more ambitious. I really don't feel as though our current MMOs are ambitious enough. They just seem very safe and run-of-the-mill. I want a bloody MMO where there's hidden bosses, players need to work together to figure out where those bosses are, how to...
You guys remember whenever I one-shot this boss? I killed him the first time I ever did him? That was crazy.
Summon them. I want world bosses where there's multiple guilds having to band together to find enough players to bloody take the things out. Hundreds of players on the screen attacking a fucking giant rock monster coming out of a mountain, and he's so big that he doesn't even appear on your screen. This was where I was hoping we would be at with MMOs.
Exactly.
When I was thinking about the future of the MMOs back when I was in high school.
You thought about all the possibilities.
Got that massive, memorable community effort PvE content, there needs to be a way of incorporating PvP into it as well. Like, maybe you attack the giant rock monster in the mountains, everyone becomes flagged for PvP, and in doing so, you need to then delegate a guild or two to defend people from the PvP players that just want to fucking gank and ruin it for everyone else. That would be a memorable, chaotic, massively multiplayer experience, one that I was really hoping we would kind of see.
We literally got that exact thing in World of Warcraft Classic. We got that exact thing. And what it was, you remember every single world boss stream that I did? It was always, oh, I don't know if we're dead or not, guys. I don't know. I'm going to keep whirlwinding. Oh my god. Wait, why is my health 0? Oh, I'm full health again. Why does it say release spirit? My health is full. What the fuck? Oh, it's just so bad. It's so bad.
By now, and one that I was hoping we would maybe get in the future, but it doesn't really seem as though that's the case. I'm obviously just pulling ideas out of my ass, by the way, but I'm trying to give you a sense of why I'm so frustrated with this genre and how far from its potential I think we are. As an MMORPG content creator, I really feel like I'm covering a genre that's 1 or 2 generations behind everything else. Like, look at the top 10-ish MMOs. World of Warcraft, 2004. Final Fantasy XIV, 2013. Elder Scrolls Online, 2014. Guild Wars 2, 2012. Black Desert Online, 2014. Old School RuneScape. I mean, it's Old School RuneScape based on 2007 game release, 2013. Terra, 2011. Arcade, 2013. SWOTOR, 2011. Albion Online, 2017. We haven't had a big top 10 MMORPG since Black Desert Online in 2014, and it's had its remaster in 2018, so it does feel like probably the most modern MMO in terms of visuals and combat system, but you know, it's a Korean game. It's never gonna...
I loved the combat in Black Desert. Like, the combat just felt so good, and I actually think that Black Desert should be, in a lot of ways, the gold standard for MMO combat. There are a few things that I wish that it had, and a few things that I like about WoW more. But overall, Black Desert's combat made you want to play the game just to experience it. And this is coming from somebody, I played my warrior. I think I played a warrior in Black Desert. I never got my greatsword. I've actually thought about playing Black Desert again just to know what it's like to play with the fucking greatsword.
To reach its full potential because of the monetization. If you look back over the past 3 or 4 years, we haven't had a new top 10 MMORPG release. 2021's a pretty big year, really, because we've got New World coming in August. With the graphics and combat system alone, that game's going to be an easy top 10. I love this game. At least that's some content. What else have we got? Ashes of Creation coming 2022, 2023. This is the MMO that I've got most of my hopes on, because from a design point of view, it is actually setting out to achieve that feeling that I want of massively multiplayer, both in terms of PvE and PvP. If Ashes of Creation fails, I'd probably just stop covering MMOs altogether, honestly. That's the one game that I feel has the best chance and is actually attempting to hit some of the potential of the massively multiplayer aspect of this genre. Arcade 2, I guess that's going to be a true next-gen top 10 MMO coming out 2022 to 2023. It's a Korean game, so it's going to be ruined by monetization. It will probably be fun for like a few months. It'll be one of those games like Black Desert that's fun, but it's never going to reach its potential. You've got the upcoming Lord of the Rings MMO from Amazon Game Studios.
I feel, and I actually hope that New World is the beta test for the Lord of the Rings MMO. I hope that New World is the beta test. Now, we'll see what happens, but I have a decent relationship with the Amazon Studios because, you know, they've sent me a bunch of stuff. We did an interview with them, everything like that. So I'll be giving as much feedback as I can about New World and about this Lord of the Rings MMO. I forgot all about this shit.
Expecting to see anything playable from that game till about 2024. We don't really know anything about this game yet, so it's hard to even make a comment on. And then you've got Riot Games recently announcing that they're working on an MMORPG. Once again, we know absolutely nothing about this game. So in the next 4 or 5 years, that's like 5 games that could possibly be top 10 MMORPGs releasing.
Well, it's like if Ashes of Creation, which is a game that's funded fully by a lifelong MMO fan, and it doesn't have any corporate overlords to it, He is the corporate overlord. With Steven, right? You have Amazon Game Studios making one. You have WoW getting better. I think Shadowlands is definitely an improvement. You have this Lord of the Rings MMO, and you have New World coming out. And you also have the Riot MMO. We are on the cusp of feeling good about wasting our lives again. And I'm so excited for that.
The content is very scarce. Obviously, there's a lot more upcoming
or they could all suck
MMORPGs than that, but I don't think they're going to hit the top 10. Like, we've got Elion from Cacao Games. That feels like a 2012, 2013 MMO, and it looks like it
a trash game. It just sucks.
So that's not going to be a top 10 game. We've got Fractured. Cool game, but it's very, very niche. We've got Lost Ark, that already feels outdated. Crimson Desert, that's going to be a single-player game or a GTA-styled MMO kind of game. Not really massively multiplayer. Core Punk, once again, not really ambitious enough. Top-down game. Blue Protocol, cool anime MMO.
Bullshit.
Not really massively multiplayer, though, and only focuses on PvE. Once again, the scope of that game is not that big. Camelot Unchained, this could be a cool PvP game if it ever actually releases, which I doubt it will, based on the incredibly slow progress of the dev team over the past few years. Crowfall, another PvP-only game. This game should actually release fairly soon, but I don't see...
I've been hearing about Crowfall for like the last 5 years, man. And I don't even know when this game's going to come out. I'll try it out at some point, but the funniest thing happened. So like this is the life cycle of every MMO by viewers. Pog, PogChamp, LOLW. That is the life cycle. People are excited at the beginning, they're waiting for it, and then they're anticipating it. And then it's LOLW. They're like, what a joke. That is the life cycle right there.
It being a top 10 MMO because the scope of the game isn't really that big. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, by the time it releases, if it ever releases, I feel as though it's going to be...
Look at this game. It just fucking sucks. Like, I'm sorry. It fucking sucks. Like, I mean, I don't want to have to be the bearer of bad news. What the fuck is this? This is LOLW, it's not even out.
So outdated or so niche that it's not going to break the top 10 MMOs once again. Titan Reach, extremely niche game, third-person RuneScape, and Mortal Online 2, another very niche PvP game. And then we've got a list of like 50 other old-school MMORPGs that are so niche and so old-school, some of which I've covered on this channel, some of which I've tried to make videos about but cancelled because they're so boring. I'm not even going to get into that. The absolute state of the genre, honestly. And I feel like the community as a whole with MMOs have been so used to just playing absolute garbage or playing such mediocre games.
The thing is with MMOs, he's right. MMO players are like... People are conditioned in MMOs to eat dog shit. Like, you are literally conditioned to eat dog shit. That's all there is to it. And it sucks. But there it is. Straight up. Like, you are conditioned to eat dog shit. And every once in a while, people eat a piece of dog shit. And, you know, maybe it's called Black Desert. Maybe it's called, you know, whatever these other games are that are, like, mediocre. And you just, for one moment, can convince yourself that it's chocolate for a split second before you come back to your senses and realize that, no, it's not chocolate. You're still eating dog shit. Shadowlands, yeah, whatever.
That our standards are so incredibly low now. As an MMO content creator, I actually kind of hate...
Like, just make a game with no microtransactions that works. Like, oh, and the servers stay up all the time. Like, just do that, I'll be happy.
New MMOs, because the MMO community are so desperate for a new MMO to be good that they willingly look past the obvious flaws that a game would have. Look at back when
It's like having a crazy girlfriend and you're still in love with her even though she will, like, you know, like, let's say you get a drink and or you get food at a fast food restaurant and the girl that gives it to you gives you a smile. So she takes the food home and puts it down a garbage disposal because she's worried that you're going to start talking to her instead. Or you wake up in the morning and she's fucking mad at you because she had a dream about you doing something bad to her, and now she's mad at you because if she knew that was a dream at that time, but you didn't treat her good enough for her to know that wasn't actually a dream, and so now she's still fucking pissed off at you. And no, I could keep going, but I could keep going. It's not good. It's not good. I used to joke around. I used to joke around about if you date a girl who's so crazy, it's like dating two girls at the same time. But the truth is, it ruins your life. It sucks.
Online released, people were so desperate for that game to be good that any content creator for the first week that spoke negatively about that game was hit by a ton of dislikes by a massive group of people just in huge denial. And look at where that game is now, shut down because it was shit. This happens with every...
I remember me and Soda and Shroud played Bless Online the first day, and the servers went down after an hour. And I'm like, oh, Soda, do you want to play whenever we get back? And we can play again tonight? He's like, no. And this is after he spent $150 on the game. Like, he went all in on the game. Like, yeah, he spent $150 on the game. Like, I spent 20. I was still willing to try it again. It's like, nah.
New upcoming MMO, by the way. I remember before New World released, Kira TV, a fellow content creator, definitely check out his stuff, by the way, great content creator. He was raising some very valid concerns about New World, and people were shitting on him so hard in the comments.
Dude, people shit on me for saying bad shit about New World too. Like, they did the same shit to me whenever I said, like, it was like you shouldn't have, here's my opinion, right? You shouldn't have Dark Souls mechanics in an MMO because of latency. Like, Dark Souls mechanics online don't even work in Dark Souls. They're not gonna work in fucking in this game either. You ever play Dark Souls PvP? What a joke. Even Demon Souls is a joke. It's one of the newest ones.
Brigade were out in full force, and look where we are now. The game had its beta. Everyone had the same opinion that the game needed to be delayed. It wasn't ready. It wasn't good enough. And looking back, everything he said was right. All of the concerns he had was right. But at the time,
like, look how good the graphics were, bro. Like, the graphics for this game, like the fucking ambience of the game, and like the environment of the game is fucking beautiful, man. It's so good. I cannot wait to play this game. There are so many good things about New World, but there are also a handful of really bad things about the game, and I hope they change those. Yeah, I know they're adding dungeons.
People just willingly ignored
I'll watch
mediocrity
it now, maybe, but I want to try to play this other game.
They were just desperate. That's how it feels with the MMORPG genre. When I critique World of Warcraft, when I critique Final Fantasy XIV, people are looking at these games like they're 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 games. I don't think any of our current MMOs are above a 5 out of 10, to be perfectly honest. I guess people are rating them relative to one another, comparing trash to slightly less trashy trash in an effort to figure out what is the best trash when we haven't experienced something other than trash for the past 10 years. It genuinely feels like we've been fed crap for so long that people can't even imagine what a good MMORPG would be anymore, or what that would even start to look like. It's very difficult for me to concisely get my feelings on this topic across without coming across as an asshole. I'm sure that's how it's come across, and if it...
Well, I have no problem coming across as an asshole. Most MMORPGs are fucking garbage. The boss design in most games is trash. And like, WoW is one of the only games that has good boss design. Final Fantasy does too. The combat and the movement in most games is janky, dysfunctional, and it doesn't feel like you're controlling the character. They're littered with cash shops and microtransactions that are rationalized by their rabid and fucking zombie fans, that they're okay with having all of their efforts in the game devalued because they want to simp for this $1 million company that has to buy the CEO another yacht. The PvP in most of the games is laggy and dysfunctional whenever there's a lot of people involved with them. They're just not fun to play. The crafting systems are generally either too complex or not complex enough. And there's also a meta that's just so well defined, and there's one thing that's better than everything else, and there's just it's so easy to figure that out. There are so many fucking bad things about MMOs nowadays, and he's right that people are just so accustomed to looking at shit. The moment that they see it in a golden garbage can, they think that it's actual gold.
I apologize. Ultimately, what I've been trying to say is that at this point, I was really hoping we'd have better. And I'm frustrated that as a community, our standards seem to be dropping and we're not demanding better as well. I guess this brings me to the next part of this video, which is my channel and MMO content going forward.
Okay, here we go.
Obviously, this year, I wanted to put out more content than I have in previous years. I've now got a video editor, so I can actually do that. It's absolutely not sustainable for me to just cover MMO content anymore. There's just not enough content to make. I'm completely out of ideas. I've been out of ideas since 2017. I can't believe I've managed to scrape the barrel for that long. So going forward, I'm going to be branching out. I'm going to be covering survival, general multiplayer games, single player RPGs, kind of similar themed stuff to what's already on the channel, but just branching out a little bit more. And obviously, if there's other MMO content that I actually do want to cover, stuff that's relevant, stuff that I think you guys are going to be interested in, then I'm obviously going to cover that. I know that 80% of my subscribers, I think, are only interested in the MMO stuff. But if you could give the other stuff a chance, the new stuff, the survival stuff, the general multiplayer...
Nah, man, like, how do you say this, dude, whenever you made probably the best Valheim video that there was? Like, I watched his Valheim video twice. All I'm saying is, like, this guy, listen, he made one of the best Valheim videos fucking ever, right? I know he's made League videos, etc., right? I'm not really too interested in League. But if this guy makes a video about a game that I'm interested in, I'm going to watch it. Like, I've watched this guy, I've watched Craig's videos for, like, 5 years. I think it's reasonable for him to be concerned. I think anybody would be in his position, but I think he'll be all right.
Games, and maybe just watch the video for entertainment rather than serious review stuff, or to find the next big MMO, then I would really appreciate it, because branching out is always a very stressful time. The new editor's been doing a great job. He's much better at memes than I am, and I think he puts a lot more work into the editing than I ever did, even though we have very different styles. So definitely check those videos out if you get the chance. But to wrap this video up, MMORPG genre, it's not looking too hot right now. We've got New World to look forward to at the end of the year. I plan on doing a massive series for that game, just showing my progress through the entire experience, from leveling all the way to end game. So very much looking forward to that. Ashes of Creation is the big one on the horizon, and is the only game I really see taking this genre forward. So if that fails, GG MMO genre. I guess we'll see where we're at in another 10 years. We should start to get an idea of if Ashes of Creation will be successful this year, based on the new combat changes that we're going to see in the coming months.
Yeah, the combat in Ashes of Creation does definitely need to get better, and I think, I feel like obviously they can just work on that. Like, that's the one thing the game doesn't have, and it's not really that great. And okay, work on that. I think this will be the game. The copium, yeah. Look, man, I mean, yeah, MMO players have been on life support for a long time, and it's not just because we're all fucking boomers, but it's also because the games are just, as I said, they're just recycled trash. I'm hoping that this Mortal Blade, Mortal Online, I keep fucking, maybe I should put Mortal Blade. I wish it was Mortal Blade. If it was Mortal Blade, it'd be really good. Mortal Blade, yeah. No, Mortal Blade was in Sekiro. I love that ability. I thought about replaying Sekiro on stream, because I never actually did play the whole thing through on stream. Maybe I will do that. I quit.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. Other than that, I don't really care about the other upcoming MMOs.
I'll beat it in like 2 days,
honest.
though, probably.
I'm just hoping that maybe somewhere out there in the world, there's a secret MMORPG project that's been plugging away for about 7 years, and at some point they'll just release this amazing MMO that no one knows has been in development for so long. But that's a pipe dream, isn't it? But that's it for this video, guys. Apologies if it came across a little bit ranty, but we have been due an MMO rant. New content coming soon, social media links on screen. Hope you all had a successful day, and I'll see you again really soon.
If you really, dude, Apex is not trash. Are you crazy? Apex, whenever it came out, was the best. It was the best FPS game on the market. and it was not even close. Like Fortnite, I do kind of separate Fortnite because of how much different it is than other FPS games, but it was the best FPS game on the market. Like it blew PUBG out of the water. It was not even remotely close. It was 1,000 times better than Blackout. It was so good, and people even say it's very good now. I personally prefer Warzone, but to be fair, I haven't played Apex for quite a while. Do you guys want to see if I'm going to be able to log on to the game? I'll read a few of these comments and then we're going to move on. No pressure, JK working night and day. There's Ashes of Creation right there too. Yeah, I mean, these game developers, like, they want the games to be good. It's the reason why, for example, like, I'm giving these games a chance. And, you know, something like Mortal Online, I'm giving it a chance because I want to try to, you know, see one of these games play and be good. You know what I mean? Who plays MMO for the story? I mean, I think some people do, but, like, I don't think the story keeps people playing the game. It might get people to start playing, but it doesn't have them keep playing. The most unloved genre, cries in RTS. That's actually true. Yeah, RTS is so unloved, people forgot that they ever did love it.